he found you all boring. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't know what to tell them because they were like, well, I don't understand why he doesn't want me. And I'm like, well, to be honest with you, you're a pillow princess. I don't know what to say. You're a pillow princess. Like you obviously aren't giving him what he needs because, I mean, just whatever. And 90% of the time I had to meet them first and like do things with them. And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that process. That was a fun vetting process because I would put them through the ringer. I'd be like, okay, let's see how far you're willing to go with this.
Wow.
So that was really fun.
Is there video involved?
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. And again, in studio today, I got my OG, Amy.
Hello.
You're in a good mood today.
Yeah, I am.
I like when you're in a good mood.
Thank you.
What's got you in such a good mood today? You're all smiley over there. You're blushing. What's going on?
Stuff. All right, let's move on.
Is it because we have a...
No, I have a date, yes.
We have an observer today.
I have a date, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it needs, yeah.
Yeah, so you've had an interesting week. You've kind of been talking to me about some crazy stuff going on in the sugar baby world.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, there's been a lot that's been kind of happening, obviously. You know, as I said before in the previous episode that I was on, you know, things kind of have come to an end, and it just, you know, now I'm been looking, and
it's an exhausting process.
It has been an incredibly exhausting process.
You feel like you have a lot of pressure too, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Because you got a lot of bills and...
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. But like the thing is, though, is you have to, and I was trying to convey this. I wish I could convey this for everyone in a way that the men and girls could understand, is it is such a long process. Like you really do have to wade through a bunch of bullshit.
You do.
Like I want to say probably 1 out of 10 people you're semi-compatible with. So talking about compatibility,
yeah.
There was this, I received a message from a guy who I thought, I was very shocked. I was like, oh my God, this is like my dream guy, right? And turns out he was a guy that I previously had dated, and he created a fake profile to try to rehatch things with me, even though he knew that I didn't want to see him again.
You know, sometimes I think I get messages from fake profiles too. But this one had you going for a little while, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I mean, I had no idea. And he just kind of, I actually ended up calling him, and I recognized his voice, needless to say, and called him out on it. And yeah, it was a thing. It was like, I was really pissed off. Well, it was really scary. I was scared. I was really scared because, you know, as everyone has heard, probably if you've listened to the past episodes, like I've had stalkers in my room, like I've had scary experiences, just as I'm sure everyone kind of has. And
for those of you that don't know what she's talking about, back when we first started this podcast, we talked about, she even had a guy walk in her front door. Yeah. And walk right into her room. Yeah, while I was sleeping. And my dogs woke me up. Yeah. So it's, you know, I've had like scary stuff like that. So this was definitely along those lines. Definitely. And I know that I've heard guys say where like girls will blackmail them as well. Don't ever get that crazy about someone. You're messing with their life. Mm-hmm. You're messing with their emotions. You're messing with their insanity at that point. I've been struggling to leave the house for like the past month or so. I've been really struggling really hard to leave my house for a while, actually. It's been really difficult. I don't know. It happens, right? I mean, I was scared. That's scary. It's really scary when they know things about you that they shouldn't know, and
Yeah.
So what happened? You end up blocking him or what?
Yeah, I told him, I was like, I just told him flat out. I had to be very blunt with him and I had to be kind of mean. I actually had to get mean. Mm-hmm. And I was like, listen, you delete, because apparently he had saved our entire conversation from like 2 years ago. He'd saved everything from a long time ago. And however long, like a long time ago. And so I was just like, okay, you are to delete all my contact information, delete every message. If you ever reach out to me again in any way, shape, or form, I will be forced
Hunt
to
you down.
I will be forced to do things. And, but I don't know what this person's capable of, right? Like,
no. You got to be careful out there. Online dating that's why we encourage you to have a secondary number, such as a Google Voice or a text app,
right?
And don't allow people to your home unless you're
ask for a picture. I think honestly now, what I really learned from this experience is, like, now I will absolutely get on the phone with somebody very quickly. Like I was not expecting this person. The only reason why I knew this person was who they were was because of their voice. Mm-hmm. You can't fake, like, you cannot duplicate that voice at all. And so it shook me I had chills running up and down my entire body. It was
What's funny though is he still denied it.
Yeah, he did. He like kept trying, and he was like trying and trying and trying.
Oh,
he was like, "Well, I just want to meet you. I just want to meet you." And I'm like, no, I don't want to meet you. Yeah. I know who you are. I'm not stupid. So let's stop there. Okay, so what has been going on in your life?
Well, just kind of speaking on that lines. Yeah. This girl messaged me. I don't remember if I messaged. Yeah, she messaged me first.
Yeah.
And beautiful pictures. Very intelligent conversation we had. We're texting back and forth, and she said she worked in a law firm and she was thinking about going into law because she was very fascinated by it. So we had some good conversation, right? So I said, well, let's meet for a drink over, because she lives somewhat close to me, and I found this little place, and I said, let's meet for a drink over there. And she's like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. 4:00. I'm like, okay, great. And then about 3:45, she messaged me, goes, hey, baby, I'm on my way. Can you send me a little bit of money for gas? I'm on E, and I can't wait to meet you. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. I mean, the profile was 5 days old.
Oh, yeah.
And the conversation was going too good, and she was just too accommodating for everything. And so I said, oh, and I already knew this was a scam. Like, I'm not going. I'm laying and, I'm actually just relaxing on my bed at that point, and I'm not getting up.
All right.
And I said, "Oh, sure, yeah, I'll be happy to send you gas money, but let's FaceTime first, or at least talk on the phone." She blocked me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, I've called her out now.
So I've had guys that have said, like, "Oh, I don't want to call," and I'm like, "Well, download this app, such and such app, and let's have it actual." Because I feel like on the website now, they have like a face. You can actually,
and that's
FaceTime.
what I did. I tried to do a video chat with her on Seeking, and she didn't answer that. And then I tried to call her on Google Voice, and it went to a message. And then I went back, and she had blocked me on the website.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot.
And it was like it was a area code that wasn't local. Yeah. So that was another red flag.
Well, I mean, there's often out of state people.
I know, but it's not an automatic deal killer.
Yeah.
But
I actually end up always falling for out of state guys.
Yeah. So it's very common for you. But red flags for us men are how old is the profile? If it's 2 days old, 1 day old, 5 days old, treat with caution. If it's 6 years old or 5 years old, throw caution to the wind. They're legit. Yeah. But I always dance around delicately with I can't say that word.
Delicately
with profiles that are brand new. Now, I have met people that created their profile within the 24 hours. I was like, you just created this. And she goes, yeah, I did this morning. And we met for dinner, and it went fantastic. Yeah. So, I've said in the past, you got to create it sometime, but.
Right. But okay,
most
so
of the scammers
what
are
is
very
the difference between the scammers and the girls that have created the profiles within that 24 hours? Like, what is that difference?
The ones that are willing to meet and their pictures have some locality to them.
Oh, yeah. So the pictures in front of like local shops.
Yeah, local shops. I can tell that this is in the desert with cactus, or, if you're in Arizona or if you're in Miami, show me pictures of you on the beach or somewhere like that. Don't show me pictures of you like in, Norway or something, right?
Yeah. Or you can, but be sure to show something.
But there's got to be
too.
some pictures that show that you're local. The best way, women, if you want men to take you seriously on a brand new account, is have a picture of you in front of a local restaurant or some kind of a local scenery that people go, oh, yeah, I've been there. That's a great restaurant. Or, I've been to that part of town. It's a fantastic tourist area or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. So, you got to start your account sometime. And, if you're starting your account, it's usually because, hey, I'm in need.
Right. Like you're just starting the site.
Yeah.
You just ended something. You're, whatever.
But I met somebody who had just created their profile, and I go, hey, is this your first time on the site? She goes, wink, wink. Yeah, this is my first time, but maybe this is the third time I've set up the profile.
Oh, I mean,
and she was real. I met her.
Yeah.
She was real.
So
Absolutely.
I've met people who have like legitimately gotten scared, because I will say when I very first started, I was really scared. I mean, I would be like, what am I doing? I was just like, oh my gosh, how do I, but as I've said before, the site was very different then. So I will say it took me, like, I think I created it and then I kind of got off and I was like, okay, well then, but it took me less than a week to find, less than a week. I was on there for probably each time less than a month for each time that has happened. But the site has obviously changed since then.
So when you find somebody, this is before you kind of keep your profile active now because you're on the podcast and you're helping grow the podcast, which I really appreciate that. Yeah. But before, did you delete it altogether or did you just deactivate it?
It depends. Like, I would usually deactivate it. Now, when I was
encourage people just to deactivate it and not delete it.
So when I was in, if we as we found different girls, I would deactivate it. But I knew that I knew how much of a harem he really wanted, right? So I was like, I would just deactivate it. So I knew how many girls he inevitably wanted because he would give me his ideal number.
And so, what Amy is referring to for people that are listening for the first time, she actually found a sugar daddy who had multiple sugar babies. Yeah. And Amy managed that whole setup for him. It's a crazy story. Yeah. There's different levels of wealth. Yeah. In the sugar daddy world. Right. I'm nowhere near that level.
Yeah. Most people probably are. But he was at a point in his life where he was just really wanted to explore that. He really enjoyed having the polyamorous lifestyle. And so he himself was managing a very successful business and he needed somebody to do it, pretty much manage
his sugar babies.
Personal life, which was his sugar babies. He got comfort out of women more than anything.
Well,
and there's something I really
I know our audience is very curious on how this worked and what you went through doing this. Tell us a little bit more about that, because we've touched on it in the past. Yeah. But you haven't gotten into depth on the nightmare that it became.
Yeah. So I would say the nightmare, like Marcus said, it lasted for a long time.
He had a house that he had rented out or owned.
A mansion, yeah.
That specifically for the girls, right?
Yeah, him and I found it.
Okay. Did he rent it or own it?
He rented and then he bought it.
He did? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if he still owns it, but I don't know.
So how many bedrooms did it have? A lot?
Yeah, it was a mansion. I can't tell you where it was, but yeah, I mean, it was it definitely had its own acreage. Yeah. We'll say that.
something that was pretty impressive, definitely.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said, Amy, I need you to fill this with sugar babies.
No, so when he first met me, he had been seeing several girls, but he himself was managing them all by himself.
Oh.
Right. So he had met me and he was like, listen, I know that you're interested in women. How would you feel about this? You know, you're definitely different. You're an interesting person. I see a lot of prospect in you. Like, what would you think about this? And I was like, okay. And this was when I was really heavy into my other lifestyle, my kink and fetish lifestyle, right? So he was really big into that as well. So he wanted to explore more into that because he himself hasn't really explored that much into it. His last girlfriend, the one that I would say broke his heart, I feel like he was getting over a heartbreak over this. I think like he filled a house because he was trying to fill a void that his girlfriend had left behind.
Now, was his girlfriend somebody he met on Seeking?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So he found love, or he fell in love with a sugar baby.
Yeah, and there's only so much I can tell you. I don't know. I had to sign an NDA. So there's only so much I can say.
Well, there's no name specifics. There's
but I
details.
can't, like, I have to be very careful about this. So basically, from what I can tell you is his life was complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And his girlfriend, like, wanted him for herself.
Sure.
And he could not give that to her.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't, wouldn't, whatever you want to say. He probably could, but he just, he couldn't, like, he really, and that's what he kept telling me. And I mean, it was really heartbreaking, the moments that he would come to me about it. And because you could see the pain, I could see the pain. I knew that he was filling a void. Yeah. I could see it 100%, and I felt it, and it was really hard, and I was trying. I did my best. I did what I could. But the thing is that he was looking for such a good time all the time that it became very taxing on me. And it was like, oh God. I mean, granted, you know, it was an opportunity of a lifetime. I don't know, but it was really
And you were compensated well for doing this.
Yeah, I was. But for me, I was like, man, you try managing 6, 7, 8, 19 to 25-year-olds at one time that are living the high life, literally living the high life in a mansion that just, they all had their issues. They all had their issues. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
They all had different issues. Even though I would vet them and everything, there were girls that on there that we would meet that wanted an absurd amount. The problem is it's like girls, like, he doesn't care. Like, he's already been with models. He's been probably with the world's leading models, and he could literally get anyone he wanted. He found y'all boring. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't know what to tell them because they were like, well, I don't understand why he doesn't want me. And I'm like, well, to be honest with you, you're a pillow princess. I don't know what to say. You're a pillow princess. Like, you obviously aren't giving him what he needs because, I mean, just whatever. And 90% of the time, I had to meet them first and, like, do things with them. And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that process. That was a fun vetting process because I would put them through the ringer. I'd be like, okay, let's see how far you're willing to go with this.
Wow.
So that was really fun.
Is there video involved?
No, actually. So the number one rule was there was no pictures. There was nothing allowed. The girls could take pictures, like, outside on the where the pool was, or if we went any place special that did not include him. But he was with us. He'd go to work and then he'd be done probably by, normally he was there by 10. So from 10 to like 9 o'clock at night, he was there every single day, Monday through Saturday, every day.
Wait a minute. So he would work in the morning until about 10 a.m.? And then he would hang out at the mansion with the girls? This is a guy's dream. Yeah.
Well, I made it happen. I don't know. I don't know what to tell him. But it was interesting. But it was what became really, when it became toxic was when I noticed that the girls, some of the girls were getting really skinny. And there's nothing wrong with skinny, but this was unnaturally skinny. This is drug skinny.
Yeah.
I noticed that I could start smelling, and people who are alcoholics, I've been around, because of my previous career, I've been enough around alcoholics to know what kind of alcoholism smells like. Yeah. There is a smell. I don't care. Yeah. You can try to hide it all you want, but there is a smell. It's a very strong, pungent smell that your body is like secreting alcohol at that point.
Yeah, and you have a super sensitive nose.
I do, yeah.
I've learned that over the years.
Yeah, incredibly sensitive. So there's just like certain things that I can pick up on. And, their actions definitely were changing. They were kind of secluding themselves into their rooms a lot more. They were becoming more distant. I mean, there's so many signs. I'm not stupid. And these girls would try hiding it. The thing is, I don't care if it's a house. I don't care if it's an industry, business. There's always a brown noser. there's always some girl
that's going to rat you out.
There's always somebody reaching for the top that will sell anyone out, right? The thing is they come, it's like they come to the head. They will seek, they know who's up top, and they'll seek you out. So there was a lot of girls like trying to rat each other out. I'd keep quiet most of the time. It wasn't until I would find a moment. So every week I had to, just about once a day, I would always give the girls a break, and I would take them out individually. I'd go on dates with them because he wanted to play. So I would just like take them out on dates, and I'd make sure that they were mentally okay. Mm-hmm. And they would try hiding stuff, and it took a long time. It took a long time for me to build their trust. The girls started bringing in really hardcore drugs, and I mean, it's going to happen, right? They wanted to be, it's really mentally hard. It's hard on anyone to be on point like that all the time. Like they had to eat right. They had to exercise. I mean, it was hard. It's not easy. It wasn't easy. I mean, I struggled with it even. I just like saw it as a job basically at that point. I was like, okay, like my working out and my exercising, taking care of these girls is my job. Playing with them was not. That was my escape. That was my let out. Like but I was dominant in that situation. Does that make sense? So I got to let out that frustration on these poor little things. And so that was really hard, because I am a giver and I really want to see them happy. But I kept asking them every time. I'm like, okay, is this okay? I would ask their permission. I had been through training. I like kind of knew the problem is they were lacking maturity. Yeah. And being so young. You being so young, they were just really, really lacking maturity. They didn't know. And I was young enough to that point where I didn't know. I didn't understand, right? It was the first time. I mean, how many people can say that they were in charge, did that? So it was just interesting, and that's where it went downhill.
This is one of the most interesting situations I've ever heard. This is kind of like MTV's Real World for sugar babies. Stick 7 people in a house and see
what happens.
What happens.
Guy.
So
they were all fighting for him.
Did they get along? Did they fight a lot?
So that's the one thing that I always made sure. Like I said, I had my girlfriend. She was my little angel. I love that girl so much. She became my girlfriend, and from there we kind of built, honestly, I was selfish, and I kind of built stuff around her and I a lot. Wow. So if they didn't get along with us, they didn't get along with anyone. But it took a while, and we built it up, and it became a lot of fun. And then you let it just takes one girl. And I had no idea. I really didn't know until she had brought down 3 girls. Like, she really brought them down. And when I say brought them down, I really hope to this day, I pray for them all the time. So do
you have an intervention? Do you fire them? How's this work?
I mean, you try, yeah. Okay, so several of them we tried getting help for, because I saw it. This is my perspective, right? I don't know his perspective. I don't know. We talked about it multiple times, and he kept telling me he had my back. He's like, whatever you say, he's like, you're the one that's here all the time. You're the one that knows what happens after 9, after I leave. And I'm like, okay, all right, great. I'm going to tell him this. Like, there are no drugs in the house. If you have any drugs or like if you're hiding anything, like, you're kicked out. Like, you're out. I'm not playing this game. It's not a game. Mm-hmm. One of them, I didn't realize that the one that brought it in, she was one of the favorites. She definitely was. And I kept, like, I was like, okay, I know she has to be it, but I could never catch her because she was smart enough to, like, pin it, like, to basically seem like the other girls. The other girls would take the fall for her because they were addicted, mm-hmm. and they would take the blame for it. She became the pimp, and I was just like, hey, listen, like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. Like, I mean, you're fighting me. You're saying that that you have my back, but when I turn around and I hear, I'm seeing that you have her back. And that's a game I'm not playing. Yeah. I'm not playing that. Like, I don't need to play this game. And I just ended it.
Did these girls have jobs? Or that was their only job, is to be a sugar baby?
The deal was that we were, I was helping them through we were helping them through school. My job was to make sure that they were following through. And they were. Mm-hmm. Like, I would make them, we would all sit down and do, like, things together. And I was like, okay, what's your goals? What's your aspirations? Let's figure this out. Let's get it going. If you can't afford it now, then we're going to save up. Mm-hmm. Like, let's save up. Let's put, like 50% of your income, because I know you guys don't have that. I'm paying you what he's paying. I'm sorry. God, I need to quit saying that.
Well, you were managing his.
Yeah.
Payments.
So, but they're like, I was like, listen, I'm paying you $1,000 above what the agreement is. So that way you can, whatever that is, you're putting it aside. Mm-hmm. You're putting that aside and you can invest it in yourself. And, I mean, it was great. Like, it was a great setup because most of the time these girls needed, like, at that day and age, before all this crazy crap, they were getting like $2,500 to three. I think the highest was probably $3,500
per month.
Cash. And on average these are like young girls.
Yeah.
Their bills probably were only about $1,000 they would tell me $1,000 to $1,500. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It's probably.
Well, they're living rent free.
Yeah. Rent free.
And
they didn't have to pay for.
What about food?
We paid for their food. We paid for their hair. We paid for if they wanted every week they were allowed to get manicures if they wanted, or pedicures. They were allowed to get massages once a week. If all gym expenses were paid for. Yeah, so everything was, and we actually at one point for about 3 months before I left, we had a personal trainer come to the house, and I mean, it was literally a Playboy mansion almost.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think this guy was spending a month supporting this lifestyle?
Yeah,
50,000?
I would say, well, with my budget management, mm-hmm. He was spending more about 50 to 100.
50 to 100,000 a month
before me.
Oh,
and I got it down to. I got it down to under 40. I think
40,000 a month on.
Pretty sure, yeah. I think at the highest it was probably 60, but that was
wow.
That was we went on an pretty extravagant vacation.
Yeah.
So it was that was cool. It was neat, and that was when we had the personal trainer showing up.
So did any of these girls have other relationships, like boyfriends that would come in or visit them?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them did. It was kind of like don't ask, don't tell mm-hmm. type of situation. I told them, I was like, listen, you're not really going to have time for a relationship. I mean, he's here every day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you're kind of dating him and I. Like, that's it. Like, if you want anything, like, he'll give it to you. If he's not giving you anything, I'll give it to you. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I did a pretty good job.
So basically, he was acting pretty much like Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion, kind of.
Well, I don't know much about Hugh, Mr. Mm-hmm. Hefner, but I do know that he definitely, like, that was his fantasy. Like, he had that disposable income, and he wanted that. He wanted to experience it. Mm-hmm. And he did. I mean, we really enjoyed it. We both had like a great time. Like, I will never forget that experience.
Well,
but
how could you?
yeah, it was really interesting.
It's not even real life. It's almost a fantasy.
It was real because it really happened.
I know.
Right. So, but I would say I think that's the difference between the site then and now is you had more men like that who had real wealth. Whereas now you have men, I feel like you have men who don't.
I think it's going to be hit and miss. I mean,
you have to go through you have to wade through a lot of like bullshit. Like, how many times has Angie said, hey, I've even now I have like 20 and 30-year-olds like coming up to me.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, like cougar. Like, I'm not a cougar. Like, I'm not old enough to be that.
32?
I'm 32. Like, oh my God.
And you're a cougar now?
I'm a cougar now. I'm like, shit. Okay, but I mean, like, yeah, you guys are just dumb. You're young, dumb, and full of cum. You probably wouldn't have no idea how to satisfy me. I'd run all over you. I would just, I don't know. You literally would not be able to satisfy me. So that is take that
if you trained them. You're pretty good at training people.
Training. I'm willing to train if they're willing to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
I think most people are willing to learn.
Yeah, you can't tame something that's just doesn't have the brain for it or the capacity, right? You have to be willing. Like, they have to go through their adolescent phase, and their brain hasn't matured enough to take constructive criticism.
You think?
Yes. I mean, how many times have we talked about Alejandro and how pissed off he got?
Yes, Alejandro.
Yeah, when he got super pissed off because I was like trying to show him, and he was like one of the last guys that I dated that was near my age, right? And it just did not work.
Well, you didn't meet him on Seeking.
No, but he could have been.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, so he just, but that's, I mean, he basically was. It just was not on Seeking, and that's fine. It just, man, he got really butthurt, and it was a major turnoff. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it took, I don't know, oral is my thing, and if you can't take that, I mean, every girl likes it different, right?
Yeah, right.
So just like every guy does. I mean, every one person is the same. So,
well, men, if you want a great course, they are not our sponsor, but I'm still going to plug them because I bought the course and I found it very useful, and people have complimented my style now. And a lot of it comes from the course OMG Yes. And they've got a really
What is
professional...
the one, the 7% man?
3% man.
3% man.
Yeah.
What does that one teach you?
That one tells you how not to fuck up like 97% of the men out there.
Gotcha. Yeah. But has nothing to do with like gratitude.
A 3% Man by Corey Wayne, actually, I highly recommend. I listened to the Audible. Matter of fact, I've probably listened to it over 20 times, and I listened to it the other day because I haven't done it in about 4 or 5 months. I haven't listened to it. And it's almost like listening to it again for the first time.
Yeah.
And I pick up so many things like, oh, yeah, it's more on relationship dating, like really how to make a girl really fall for you.
Yeah.
And
I recommend that
how not to put the pressure on the girls.
Yeah.
And how to let things happen organically and naturally and let them come to you, because a girl that's chasing you is not dumping you.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're not losing a girl that's interested in you and she's chasing you, and it basically teaches you how to become a 3%er.
Yeah.
You know. So
right. Yeah.
It's really good information. It's not
cat and mouse game.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of it's subjective, and it's not black and white. Like some of his techniques don't work exactly.
Yeah, but you take what you can from it.
You take it to every situation. You've got to have some ability to read the situation and read.
You have to adapt to certain situations.
Yeah, because every person's different.
Yeah.
We all think differently a little bit. We all react differently.
Right.
But it does teach you in general on how to treat a woman.
Yeah.
To make them really, really love you and really like you and adore you.
Yeah.
So I recommend it, guys.
Yeah.
Also not sponsored by Corey Wayne.
Yeah, that's right. I won't sell it for him.
Yeah. Maybe one day. I actually would like to
Mr.
interview
Wayne.
him because he does have a lot of great information. He's got a lot of great videos on YouTube. He reads listener letters a lot, and then he'll discuss the listener letters. And I love when we do listener letter shows because we get good comments and questions, and we can discuss those. And that's what he does on YouTube, and kind of goes over. So you'll start hearing some things repeat, but there's always something new you'll get out of.
Always something. We're always learning, right? And
you could hear it 10 times, and then the 11th time you hear something, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Why didn't I not hear that?
Exactly.
It didn't hit me the first 10 times I heard it.
Because I will say, like, for me as a host, like, I'm constantly learning. I learn from a lot of our guests. I'm just like, wow, I did not think of that. And then I sit there, and even when, like, when we're not on air, I think about the podcast a lot. I'm just like, man, how can I, what is this person, like, when we do the letters, I'm constantly thinking, like, what did she say? What did that person, he or she say? Yeah. And how trying to look at it through their eyes and, like, put it into perspective for them, because I don't know, I think that everyone has such great points, and it's really beautiful. It's really great to be able to, like, help people like that. And that's what this whole podcast is about. Yeah.
So against your better judgment, you've actually listened to a few podcasts now that we've done.
I've listened to 1.5, maybe 2.
I thought you told me more than that.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like 2 or 1.
Amy doesn't like listening to them because,
I'm super self-critical.
Yeah, most of us are.
Yeah.
But that's the way we learn.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to be authentically myself. Yeah, that's my thing.
I get it.
I don't want to sit there and regret things that I've maybe said or have not said. Yeah. Right. I don't want to think about that. I want to be in the moment. And if somebody asks me a question, it's like, okay, this is me. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to change who I am on or off the show.
Amy's like one of those actors that will not watch their hit movie.
I guess. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. I will say, like, you know what? One thing that I've really struggled with, like, now that I had recently gotten on the site and was, like, looking for somebody new. It's really annoying how guys try to tell me who I am.
Isn't it strange?
I hate it. I'm like, oh my God, like, why? Okay, well, I guess there's nothing for me to say. Okay, you know who I am. All right, well, goodbye. I don't know what to say.
Amy and I both, in our profiles, we do admit that we are part of this podcast, kind of as promotion to help grow the podcast and get more listeners.
We want to help people.
So we openly admit that we are part of it. And when people go listen to it, they think they know you.
Yeah, 100%.
But they're just hearing part of you.
Yeah. And they all assume that is who I am now, right? So
from when we did it back in, when we started,
like over a year ago,
7-8 months ago.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, our lives change, our situations change.
Our minds, like, even Brian Howie, he talks about all the time, when I find you on the street, like, oh God, suck a dick. Like, no, you did not find me on the street. Like, screw you. No, you did not find me on the street. Like,
we found you roaming on the street.
Yeah.
So Brian Howie from the Great Love Debate.
No, excuse me. No, just because my mentality has changed a little bit. Yeah. He was like, oh, we'll change your mind. Well, yeah, of course I'm going to change my mind. Yeah, I'm in a completely different place than I was over a year, almost a year ago. 100%. Like, I'm the further that I'm, like, reaching my goal. I had no hope back then. I was completely lost. I felt so small. Like, I felt smaller than gum stuck on the bottom of a shoe.
Oh my goodness.
Like, that's how small I felt, because I was like, man, I can't believe I'm having to go back to school. I've 3-4 years left, right? 3 years left. Like, God, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, am I even capable of this? Can I actually do it? Was I stupid? Like, was I dumb for even trying this? Like, was I dumb for moving all the way from border to border practically? Yeah. Was I that dumb to move all the way down here and to do this? And now that I'm, like, kind of, honestly, the support from my professors, the support from my friends, the support from all the people on the podcast, the people that I've met on the site, I feel like now I am 100% capable. Like, I know I can do this. And so, yeah, I'm a little different. I don't feel so small. And I feel like, yeah, I can actually do this. I'm doing it, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm giving it my all. I'm not afraid to give it my all. Yeah. I still, like, yeah, I have my really weak moments where I'm really scared. I still struggle with the social anxiety. I still struggle with all that crap. Like, that's always going to kind of be a thing, but that's...
You know, I think from the feedback I'm getting from our audience and the letters I'm getting, people actually relate with you more than you know. And I send you a lot of the feedback, and I copy you guys, you and Angie, on the feedback that we're getting. And I think you resonate with more people than you ever realized, as we've getting international listeners from all over the world, and certainly all over the United States. Yeah. I think your situation is not unique.
No, I'm not saying I'm unique.
I know, but sometimes you feel like
alone,
that you're battling this thing alone. And I think a lot of people do understand where you're coming from because they're going through a lot of the same issues.
Right. But the thing, I think the big difference is you don't, when you feel alone, even though there could be a million people around you, mm-hmm. For me anyways, the more people that I'm around, the less likely that I'm able to open up to somebody about something like that, because they want to only see the great side of me. They don't want to see that struggle. They want to see that perfection, right? People look at me when I get dressed up, people look at me and they think, this girl has it together. This girl, like at work, nobody knows my pitfalls. Nobody knows my problem. It's not their problem to deal with. It's a work relationship, right? Mm-hmm. When I'm around 100 some odd people, 1,000 people, I'm not going to sit there and I'm going to try to show them the best because I have to be strong for them, right? Because that's what they're wanting to see. Whereas here we're one-on-one, so I'm able to kind of like let loose a little bit, and I'm able to actually like honestly show a side of me it's really scary. It's parts of me that it's hard to talk about, and it's hard to, but I do struggle with that stuff. And I think a lot of people do. I think, I feel their pain. Yeah. And I'm glad. I like the fact that there's a lot of girls that are reaching out and a lot of men that are reaching out, through the website. And I'm praying for them. I think about them all the time. Those are the ones I think about the most, honestly, is because I'm like, man, I don't know, there's always going to be somebody out there. There's somebody out there for everyone. And it may not be in the form or way that you originally thought. It could be a girl, it could be a guy. Like there's always somebody out there. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Anyways, sorry, getting sentimental here. All right. Next. But
no, we are getting a lot of good feedback. And then we finally started charting. Like we've been doing this podcast long enough that we're starting to see movement on the charts, actually all over the world. But we do need your feedback because we've gotten like some really good 5-star reviews. And and then like somebody will throw in a 2-star and go, it's just two people rambling. I'm like, it sounds like they only listened to episode 1. Because
that's fine.
That could have been just episode 1.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
Because I think the other episodes are fantastic. Like,
well, yeah, obviously it's your
we
show.
have a lot of really good information. We've brought on so many good quality people, sugar daddies, sugar babies, great stories. Matter of fact, I think our next episode, I'm trying to tease this, but as long as they don't cancel on me, I have a transgender sugar baby scheduled.
That's my interview.
Yeah, so
that's gonna be my interview.
I'm really curious. I've never interviewed somebody who is kind of deals with that side of it. Yeah, and I have so many questions. Yeah. We just had an episode that you were a part of with the married sugar baby who turned sugar daddy. Yeah, that was a very interesting episode. I mean, who's doing those type of interviews?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's so many people out there, and I think that's what's really great is realizing that there's literally so many people, and being but they want secrecy. Like that's the big thing. Is everyone? I think everyone has such an amazing story, and being able to find that and like find what their story. Everyone, I don't care who you are. You could be Joe Schmo on the street, And I bet you have an amazing story. I see like these old people like walking out and I'm like, I wonder what that guy's been up to or what that girl has been up to. Cause I know that they've gone through some stuff.
Right.
Everyone's story is fascinating. And that's what I find fascinating about this show is I really, really admire the people that come on the show for one episode and they're so willing to just like let it all out. Cause that takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of balls, a lot of cojones to just come out like that. And I don't know, to place that trust in us, I think is really important.
Well, we've really expanded our reach just locally. I've met sugar daddies that I would have never had the opportunity of meeting. Like, how am I going to meet another sugar daddy?
Yeah.
Right? I'm not looking for them. I'm not dating them, obviously.
Right.
So how am I supposed to meet them? But they've come on the show. And then we actually have somebody local who's getting some parties together, some seeking parties.
Right. I know some people in Chicago and Washington that do that too.
Yeah.
Like they do like sugar dating parties.
Yeah.
And it's really popular. Like it's really cool.
Like I was a little apprehensive going because I didn't know what it was going to consist of, but it was very classy.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised on how classy and how refined and how well everybody acted.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these are educated men who've somehow they've come into some wealth either through their brains or inherited it or they've owned businesses or whatever. And then the girls were on their best behavior and they all dressed, very classy and appropriately. And it was a nice little mixer. And I met actually at the first one, unfortunately, but it was still new. There was a lot more men than there were women.
Right.
Because I don't think the women knew about it quite yet.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoyed meeting other guys that share our lifestyle and hearing their stories and finding that we had so many common interests. And then all of a sudden, like we're exchanging cards and we're talking about doing business together.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like that's what this type of dating is it's business and pleasure, right? But it's a way that it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of common interests amongst everyone. At least with the guys that I've dated, I mean, we actually have compatibility in multiple levels, right? So I don't know. I find it, I think I'm actually want to go to one of those parties if I can get the courage to go and be in front of a bunch of random people. So, but I think it's really great. I would love to go like a mass party. We should do like a mass party. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
I would totally do
kind
that.
of like a Phantom of the Opera mask or like something like that.
Oh my gosh. I've been watching this new show on HBO that's really good. It's called Our Flag Means Death.
Okay.
It's hilarious. But it's like, I don't know, that Victorian era stuff. And I don't know. I've always liked parties like that. Yeah.
Well.
Weirdo.
We got into some interesting things.
I talked your ear off.
I meant to kind of get back to this whole sugar baby mansion thing. Just tell me.
Oh gosh.
I'm not gonna get too deep into it because we're out of time. But how did it end? Like where?
I said it before. Like I'm not kidding you. I literally went up to him one day and I said, "Listen, this is becoming too much. The drugs are becoming too much." And I'm getting too much pushback. I can't do this anymore.
So you walked away.
I walked away. Yeah. I will never do anything that I don't want to do.
Sure.
I've had that privilege. I've worked my ass off. And girls, I'm telling you again, girls, make something of yourselves. The 20-some-year-olds that are listening, you're young, you're vibrant, you think it's going to last forever? Heck, no, it's not. It does not last forever. I can tell you that right now. It does not last forever. Make something of yourselves. Do something with your money. Like, don't want to buy purses? Fine, I get it. I have my splurge moments. It's called, what is that shop? What's that shop therapy? Retail therapy?
Retail therapy. Yeah.
Retail therapy. I have that just as much as anyone else does, right? Guys have the same thing. You guys buy shit that you don't need. I get it, right? So we all do that, but really try to use that additional help that you're getting and put it towards something. Invest in your own future because it's not going to last forever unless you marry some guy. But who knows? I mean, I know a lot of wives out there that they won't touch their husbands anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think they're stuck. There's an old ball and chain and they're stuck. So I don't know.
All right.
That's what I got.
Well, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Love everyone.
Amy was on a roll today. Well, we caught her in a mood.
I've had like 2 drinks.
I think we're going to have to get her lubed up a little more often.
I know. This is what happens when I drink. I get chatty Cathy.
Well, guys, go find us on Instagram at Secrets of a Sugar Daddy and follow us at our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. And hey, please
rate us.
Give us 5 stars. We are
every time.
We are
all
moving
time.
up the chart. I don't care if you hate it. Give us 5 stars.
Yeah, just be like, okay, 5 stars, but they suck.
Yeah, but no, we do appreciate your feedback, and then we would appreciate you rating us highly so we can continue to climb the charts. Yeah. And see where this thing goes. We're having a lot of fun with it, and I've got so many special guests lined up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Until next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.